More and more games are getting updated for the Xbox One X. Every single day, developers are rolling out free patches and improving their games with 4K resolution bumps, frame rate increases, high dynamic range lighting, and more. What started as an already hefty category of Xbox One X games swells week by week, and we're here to test all the latest updates and point you towards the games that have impressed us the most. So whack up that video resolution to 4K and let's take a look at what these bad boys can do. 8-core AMD Jaguar CPU. No, not the names of the 4-man squad in Ghost Recon Wildlands, but the advanced Xbox One X architecture you can thank for bringing Ubisoft's open world shooter into the very wild land of 4K. All of Ubisoft's love goes into the breathtakingly diverse land of Bolivia, the largest single location the developer has ever made. Thanks to improved resolution, there's a new level of detail on salt lakes, dense swamps, snowy peaks, and arid plains. They've even punched up the resolution of specific assets like puddles and footprints, so even if you're getting muddy, you're doing it in a cleaner way than usual. More importantly, the draw distance is improved, so you can really take in all those vast landscapes. Just don't gawp too long, as there are enemy snipers everywhere. And with the addition of contrast boosting high dynamic range effects, looking out from a valley ridge and seeing campfires flickering kilometers away is a newly rewarding experience. Go on, give your Xbox One X a kiss for that. Thanks to its vapor chamber cooling, it won't burn your lips off. You called and Machine Games answered. Wolfenstein achieves native 4K resolution at a ridiculously slick frame rate. Granted, it's a dynamic resolution that scales with some of the more hectic gunfights, like when BJ's beset upon by metal dogs or when flamethrower Nazis turn him into crackling, but that allows it to keep to that 60 frames per second. This is also the same ID Tech 6 engine that Doom uses, and like that game, it's clear that Wolfenstein is smoother than Jeff Goldblum flinging a bratwurst across ice, which is to say as smooth as the human eye can possibly perceive. Textures and floors and materials especially are at a noticeably higher quality, so items made of cloth and leather look extra convincing. That means it's extra sad when BJ gets in a firefight, as we really feel for his awesome jacket. Hands up if you want to see Batman fight Green Lantern in an eye-wateringly 4K Batcave. In its Xbox One X Enhanced update, Injustice 2 gets enough gizmos to fill several utility belts. Among the new things brought in by the patch are improved shadow quality, enhanced motion blur, better depth of field, overall higher quality post-processing, increased character detail, high resolution, and high dynamic range lighting. If your TV or monitor supports HDR, your prize is a deeper and brighter color range. When those laser eyes start firing around the screen, you're really going to feel that burning intensity. The super moves in particular are incredible. Like, I just conjured a mech and killed Batman. It's absolutely crazy. The in-engine cutscenes are improved too, giving you a close-up gawp at all the hard-to-please modeled faces. But wait, hold the phone, because the Flash just smashed Cyborg into a hyper-detailed T-Rex. With the Ninja Turtles coming to the game as downloadable characters, it's a perfect time to jump back in. It even makes the dampest DC hero, Aquaman, look cool, which is no small feat. One of the most famous names in racing returns in fine form on the Xbox One X. While it doesn't hit a buttery 60 FPS like Forza 7, it maintains a solid 30 FPS with lots of improved assets. Even in the midst of spark-filled collisions, congested downtown traffic, and smoky trails emanating from desperate drifts, in my opinion, the frame rate adds to the game's cinematic quality. And since it's going for a kind of Fast and Furious meets Ocean 11 by the way of Top Gear, it kind of fits. It's the most cinematic Need for Speed in years, so much so that I hum the 20th Century Fox theme whenever I load the game up. Cars look best on the Xbox One X, hands down. They're smooth and shiny, which is exactly how I like my cars. Since the dawn of time, we've used shiny car bonnets as one of the key criteria of how powerful a console is, and the X does not disappoint. And the open world of Fortune Valley looks sublime. With increased draw distances and better textures across the board, from bustling city to parched desert plain, it's the perfect setting to strike back against greedy casinos of the Strip. If only Payback had a photo mode. What's that? It does have a photo mode? Well, it appears I've hit what slot machine experts sometimes call the jackpot. New Orleans? More like New Orleans. Seriously, the setting of Mafia III looks like a brand spanking new place after being patched for an Xbox One X rejuvenation. Thanks to high dynamic range lighting, it looks stunning at night, with the neon signs really popping against the night sky. And speaking of popping, there's a lot less pop in as the game seamlessly loads the vast views down busy avenues. The distance you can see is so vital to creating a believable world, so it's great to see it extended up here. There's all kinds of tricks working away to give the game a smoother look, from improved depth of field to motion blur to improved shadows. They've even gone in and tweaked the geometry detail so that not only are you looking at objects in a higher resolution, but those objects have smoother edges than ever before. It all combines into one of the most impressive makeovers on the Xbox One X, making a game that is over a year old look brand spanking new. You just want to drive around it listening to all the era's tunes like the Rolling Stones, doing things like resisting the urge to pull out a shotgun and shooting everyone, failing, then pulling out a shotgun and shooting everyone. My apologies to the Big Easy, but I'm just a bad person. My next pick is for another Xbox 360 game that's been enhanced for the Xbox One X. That they can boost the resolution on a 10-year-old game to full 4K still blows my mind. It's also a great opportunity to visit a very cool game. With my dreams of being a parkour expert dashed after a particularly troubling incident with a wall, Mirror's Edge lets me live that fantasy as I climb across the rooftops of a futuristic city while wearing very sporty clothes. This game did active wear before it was cool, and thanks to its new update, Mirror's Edge protagonist Faith's red kicks and white trackies look razor sharp. They normally say don't look down, but in this case you really should, just to see your awesome outfit. The city in Mirror's Edge is also one of the best conceived video game environments ever. Look how clean it is, I want to live here. And on Xbox One X, it's a 4K utopia. The anti-aliasing gives skyline views extra clarity, and as for the interiors, this game does corridors maybe better than any game ever. Oh, and it's also absolutely terrifying when you fall to your doom. Oh my god, stop it, no! You can thank photogrammetry for Star Wars Battlefront 2's beautiful visuals. That's the technique of taking pictures of real objects to produce digital objects. Developers DICE captured everything from stormtrooper helmets to giant redwood trees, resulting in 3D models that are closer to digital replicas. Even on Xbox One, there's an almost photorealistic quality to Battlefront 2's graphics, but when the Xbox One X bumps it up to 4K, the result is astounding. Varied environments are detailed and geographically diverse, faces are uncanny, and shiny armor seems real enough to touch. That's what I do whenever I see anything real. I touch it. If I'm feeling particularly arty, I'll just run up to a rock and look down my zoomed in scope at some high-res rocks. Yeah, I'm not really someone you want on your team. Most of the time. And also, why not check out our recent episode of World's Hardest Achievements to see more Star Wars in beautiful 4K. Warning, you'll also have to see me in slightly less beautiful 4K. But go watch it. It's a constant pain that I don't have a new Skate in my life. The last one came out in 2010. Where's my Skate 4? Oh, Skate 3's just been updated in 4K. Fine, that's cool I guess. No, but seriously, that's pretty cool. Like Mirror's Edge, this is another 360 game that's had its resolution bumped to full 4K, using the purest version of the assets so that the game still looks incredible today. The town of Port Carrollton looks freshly crisp and clear in 4K, just check out this cool dark side. And what about this awesome Christ Air?
You broke that thing off!
And those are just some amazing tricks for you there, considering that Skate 3 comes from a time when 4K TVs were just a twinkle in some mad scientist's eye. It's amazing how good it looks. I'm sure you'll agree it looks absolutely lovely in a fresh lick of paint. Other Xbox 360 games which have Xbox One X enhancements are Assassin's Creed, Fallout 3, Halo 3, Gears of War 3, and The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. So why not pop those dusty discs in the drive and see how they hold up? The lyrics of the Dovahkiin song loosely translate as Dovahkiin, Dovahkiin, he looks so good. Dovahkiin, Dovahkiin, especially his food. Seriously, look at this carrot. That is a good carrot. And this high-res piece of flesh. Flesh belonging to actual live people is also good too, with improved shadowing and textures, as you can see with any citizens of Whiterun here. Sorry that you have to put up with me, guys. I'm so sorry. Bethesda's patch supports both 4K dynamic resolution. Also, is it me or does the vegetation look more inviting? I just want to lie down and roll around in the heather. The special edition came out in 2016 and introduced this depth of field feature, which blurs background elements when you focus on a foreground object. It's just so cool to see the effect in 4K. Revisiting Skyrim shows you just how much effort went into it. It really does hold up. The dense forests, forlorn plains, and icy wastes are so atmospheric. They're even more atmospheric when you're listening to the amazing score, of course. But instead of that, have another blast of me singing as I attack this giant. Dovahkiin, Dovahkiin. And now it's time for some indie action. Tacoma is a narrative-driven exploration game from the creators of Gone Home. You're on board the abandoned station Tacoma in the year 2088, and you have to figure out what happened to the missing crew. The methodical pace lets you appreciate the interior design of the Tacoma itself, from cargo bays to crew quarters to observation decks in the glow of burning stars. Everything is pin-sharp in 2160p resolution. That's 4K for people that don't speak P. The frame rate is rock solid too, as you'd expect from a game about floating around snooping on space conversations. Loads of indies are set to be firing on 4K cylinders soon. Indies like Ashen, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and The Artful Escape, so congratulations Tacoma for getting there first. Bethesda updates another game from its catalogue this week, and it hits full, glorious 4K in Fallout 4. The results are stunning, making this the best version of Fallout 4 you can possibly get on any console, anywhere. Let's get into the specifics. We're talking improved draw distance with more detail at middle distance and long distance. Just look across the ridge and towards the top of the screen, you're seeing more trees and buildings than you usually would. There are God Ray upgrades too, which you can see streaming through over the top of Diamond City. Thanks for the rays, God. Something you may not have noticed is the reduction of artifacts where the light from these God Rays intersects with other objects. It's now much more subtle. What's more pronounced is the lack of jagged edges. This is a game that keeps jaggies at bay like they're contagious. Take this bag of meat for example. So very smooth. As for performance, Fallout 4 on the Xbox One X remains a rock-solid 30 in most areas. But let's start a bloodbath in the middle of the marketplace to give it a proper stress test. As you can see, even in the most built-up areas, Fallout 4 handles intense action better than ever, especially when shooting shopkeepers. I see your prices and raise you bullets. Now that's proper bartering. The resolution can drop down to keep the frame rate smooth, but it rarely strays from the native 4K. It certainly bodes well for whatever Bethesda is cooking up for us next. Oh man, do I want to play a brand new Elder Scrolls in 4K. Wouldn't that just be glorious? Onto Fortnite now, and you can already see how good it looks in the initial airplane flyby. Developer Epic has said it's comparable to what you'd see on a PC's Epic settings. There are now high quality post-processors like motion blur, anti-aliasing, and depth of field, increased draw distances, more detailed foliage, and better shadow casting and reflections. Now it does render at 80% of 4K, then upsamples to 4K, rather than render in native 4K, but it still looks so lush. The enhanced resolution really amplifies the stylized visuals. The God Rays shining through the trees here are spectacular, and the sky is nice and bright. Don't stare too long though, as there are enemies everywhere. I want to hide in this little hut I built for myself, but that's getting me nowhere, and this shotgun really isn't designed for long-range encounters. Midday is my favorite time in the game, but it looks lovely at night too. It's like a cool, playable cartoon. Here I get my first kill by approaching someone from behind like a hero. Boom! This gives me a bit of confidence, which immediately vanishes when someone else does the same to me. Shots in the back. Cool. Go on then. Take all my stuff. I didn't even want it anyway. But what you have to remember is that Fortnite Battle Royale is a completely free mode that you can go out and download right now. So do that and give your Xbox One X an epic workout. But those are my personal picks of recent Xbox One X enhanced games. Of course, more are being added every week, so please do let us know down in the comments below if there's an update that's really impressed you. And while you're at it, why not check out our first roundup video by following the link on screen now for more recommendations. And please do subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. Thanks for watching, we'll see you guys next time. Bye!